A letter to my grandmother. Dear grandmother, I'm not sure why I am writing this letter, except that it is a class assignment, and I do very much feel myself missing you. Perhaps the letter comes from my future self. I'm sending you this image of me learning. My assignment is to write a letter to the past. I don't write with pen and paper, or even with computers. I write with my mind, and my thoughts travel to you across time and the collective conscience of our world. In ages past, some people called a similar type of communication the internet. But the internet was just a tool. No one uses it anymore, and it really doesn't compare with what we have now. I'm going to share a story with you using this new tool called the collective experience. The story begins a few years after you died. During this time, people almost gave up the part of our brains that allow us to visit and to learn using the collective experience that I am using right now. Ironically, it was computers that helped us learn how to use our minds to connect with the collective experience, and it was computers that almost destroyed our ability to be human. It started by using simple tools, but then the tools became a part of our bodies. We began to implant computer chips that could be read by our brains. It made us very smart and allowed us to tap into the collective experience. Not everyone could afford the chip, and those who could not afford it started to think about how this connection to the collective experience could be done without a chip. After all, science keeps proving that we only use a small portion of our brains. Do we really need to enhance it with a chip? People who were enhanced with technology said that connection to the collective experience was impossible without the chip. Some people who were enhanced became more and more enhanced until their entire bodies were replaced with machinery. Machine people and humans were mostly cordial, but machine people often thought of themselves as superior to humans. Many humans felt helpless to the situation as they saw the divide between machine people and humans widening. Then one day, seemingly out of nowhere, a young orphan in a monastery high in the mountains tapped into the collective experience with no chip and no machine whatsoever. At first, no one believed the youngster. The story itself even sounds cliché. Really, they said, an orphan in a monastery in the mountains? People even made up all kinds of excuses as to why and how the child might fabricate this experience. But this young child kept talking about it on the internet. Soon other children were trying it, and then children everywhere were giving up the internet for the collective experience. Adults were baffled, but they knew there was something to this as the children had grown smarter and stronger than the internet. After many years of studies and court cases, most adults were still unable to understand the collective experience. But as the children grew up, they were better able to explain the collective experience to their parents. Then those children who grew up taught their children. This is where we are today. I'm only 2 generations away from you, but I never got to meet you, and I really do want to meet you. You probably don't know that we can meet through the collective experience. You see, nowadays, when people want to learn about the past, we meditate on it in a certain frame of mind. Then we can experience other people and other times. Sometimes people who have died are not in the collective experience because they have not yet awakened to it. I'm writing to you in your dreams because you are not yet awake. You will awaken when you are ready. I'm just writing to let you know that I am here and that I will be so happy when I finally get to meet you. Love always, your granddaughter.